this message should just get to Ruto and to all the cabinet secretaries, and especially
Amen.
the one for health. You guys, you need to stop joking with our doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, and welcome to the Magneticah podcast. This is a podcast by two 20-something friends, Kim and Phyll. We catch whatever life throws at us and try to make sense of it by sharing our thoughts and opinions. Magneticah will be full of great moments, so many oops, ifs, laughters, and tears of maneuvering life as young African women. If you want to have a great time and share in our experiment, tag along. Let's journey on together.
Hi, amazing people. My name is Miss Phyll, and as always, I'm excited to be on this platform. Welcome to the Magneticah podcast. This is going to be an amazing interview, and you know why? I am going to be having a conversation with someone who I love, value, look up to, and appreciate. She's an amazing lady, incredibly smart brain, very humble. Oh my God. Her humility is something that I really admire. And she has an amazing personality. I don't want to go much into who she is because I want you to meet her lovely voice. So I will let Mary introduce herself. Mary, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, Miss Phyll. I'm doing so well. Thank you for the wonderful, wonderful introduction. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, first of all, for always listening to Magnetica podcast. I really, really appreciate. Shout out to you for being a big fan and for eventually coming on the platform.
I'm glad to be here. And I mean, your podcasts are just good vibes and good energy. I think anyone who has a vibration needs to be listening to this Magnetica podcast. Really, really good stuff and good content. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here. It's an honor.
Amazing. So Mary, we can start from what you do. And before that, let me just put context. Mary and I knew each other in high school. We were classmates. I think at some point we were desk mates. And she was among the cream de la cream of our class, as you can imagine. So having her here is a pleasure and an honor. And she has really continued to shine even beyond high school and outside. And we are just grateful to God for you, Mary. Thank you so much. So you can tell people what you do. I guess introduce yourself and then I will ask the questions as we go along.
All right, all right. Yeah, we were classmates from high school. That's like how many years? 10 plus? I don't know. I feel like, when we were in high school, I remember seeing like people coming and they'd be like, oh, we were here 10 years ago and it would look so far. Now, I'm just like, it was just the other day. Okay, it wasn't the other day, but yeah. Yeah, but yes, I knew you uh, from Kitambo like a decade ago. Um, yes, I'm Mary Gitau, currently a doctor working in Nairobi. Yes, basically that's who I am. And yeah, I've done modeling, some part-time modeling. I'm Christian, a very strong Christian, which has been me. I mean, that's been me from even high school days. Yeah, and basically also a lover of life and everything nice, soft life. I'm a baby girl, and I subscribe to baby girl treatment. How much Miss Phil?
Hey, lazima, baby girl treatment lazima. You're speaking my language. Yeah, so let's just start right from high school. I'm just curious. When we were getting to high school, where was your mind at? Like, did you know that eventually you wanted to study medicine or you were just like, figure it out? Did you have a variety of options? How did you end up choosing the medical field? Because, the one thing that I hear that if you're a doctor, it's a calling. So I don't know where you get that call from. Maybe you can tell us.
Yeah, it's actually this thing for medicine is a calling is actually really true. Aki, if you do not have a calling, ukisikia kama hujaitwa, please, this is not the career for you because there's a lot that you give more than anyone can actually pay. And I understand that there's so many careers where I mean you give more than you're paid. For example, I think teachers are I think they're not paid for what they do because teachers hold you, especially, the ones who are good, the ones who nurture you, they do more than what their pay is. Like they go over and above. And I feel like medicine has a lot of that. Yes, especially medicine at this present time. But yeah, let's go back to from one. Actually, interestingly, that's a conversation I think we've never had, Miss Phyll, um, about like where our minds were at, like in Form 1. That's a very interesting question. I'd like to actually know your mind as well, where your mind was. But for me, I've always been an achiever. I think I used to perform very well in primary, but I didn't perform as well in my KCPE. So that I think I was in that space of, oh, if you don't perform well, you're dying. It's either you perform well or you're a failure in life. So I remember I didn't fail my KCP per se, but I didn't get the marks I wanted, and I didn't get my dream school, which was actually PB, Precious Blood Rerouter. So I remember just by the time I was joining Form 1, I was like, man, I'm going to be studying. You guys, I'm not even joking. I don't even want friends. It's just me and books, please. Me and books one side. And yeah, so that's what happened. I ended up studying a lot in high school. I don't think I was as adventurous as you are, Miss Phyll. Miss Phyll in high school, you guys should know. But someone should interview Miss Phyll so that they know you a bit better. But yes, I think that's when I mean, studying and I used to perform so well. And I think I loved my sciences. I did all sciences and I loved them completely. So actually, by the time I was reaching Form 4 and we're choosing subjects or units, I was really debating between medicine and engineering just because I love the sciences. But I think I had an inclination more to medicine because I think seeing people, especially seeing people limp, it used to give me yani nasikia vibaya kwa roho ama those times when you'd walk in town and see maybe a man who's seated and he probably has like an amputated knee and he's just deformed. Those things used to just they used to make me feel so sad. Or you see someone walking with a certain walking style, and I'm just like, this is so correctable. Surely, as in, just someone should be able to correct this, and someone should be able to walk straight, even if they've gone through like an accident or whatever. Yeah, so I think that's where the passion was, but also there's a lot of input, I have to admit, from like people around me, especially my parents. They're like, I think medicine is good for you. Medicine is better than engineering. So I ended up now in this field. Yeah, that was me and my headspace in high school. What about you, Miss Phyll? I'm sorry, I know it's supposed to be me answering questions, but I'd really actually want to know where was your head at?
It's okay. It's okay. I'll answer your questions too. I think it makes it more fun. Wow, let me first of all respond to what you said. Let me tell you guys, when I was in Form 1, Mary stood out because number one, she's tall. Number two, she still have very long hair, thick, long hair, and your complexion, like you just had the right features. I'm not even surprised that you ended up in modeling. Even if you didn't want, I'm sure it just called you by your name. Yeah, but you guys, I just wanted to tell you, she was so focused. I remember there was this girl in our class, she's called Lavender, and Cynthia, and who else? In Form 1, I used to be a backbencher. I used to sit almost towards the back. And I think a lady called Nene. Oh my God, I still remember. I still remember my classmates, you guys.
Good memory.
I know. Yeah, sometimes used to look at you and would be like, this girl, should I even dress? She's always studying. And especially Lavender used to say that a lot. She's like, Mira, I think he's always studying. She's going to beat me in exams. And I'm like, well, you better get your head straight into the books, because we used to sit behind most of us. Before now we were shifted as we went to other forms. Wow, when I was getting into high school, I think I was almost in shock. I was almost excited but shocked. So you know what happened? We did the first exams. I will never forget. We did the first exams. Man, for the first time in my life, I was not among top 10. I was not even top 15. I was not even top 20, you guys. Let me tell you. I was I was in the middle. We were 60 in our class, or 50, I'm not sure, but I was in the middle. And I was so disappointed. But when I was joining Form 1, because I think I came like 2 weeks late, I was just excited to be in a new school. I was excited to be in a good school. I was excited to be surrounded by beautiful girls. I think the first time I think I was just there. I didn't even know, I was just existing. I was wondering, oh my God. The only thing I think I didn't like was the fact that you were eating githeri. I didn't think that in our school we could eat githeri. That's the only thing I didn't like. But most of the things, yeah. So my headspace was not actually in books so much. It was for the experience. And I think I'm quite an adventurous person. I tend to think in high school I was very quiet, but I was very active in drama. I was very active in activities. I really tried to join as many clubs as I could. In Form 1, I think I was in like 5 or 6 clubs, until you reach Form 3 and you're like, okay, I can't be in all of them. I can't be in all of this. I need to choose. But I think eventually drama club just called my name. So I settled down there. But it was for me, I was just I was not so much into books. I was for the experience until I failed my first exams. And I remember my dad was like, don't worry, you've now met other brilliant girls. Now you just need to pull up your socks. And I think after that, I was always performing better. I think in Form 4, when we did our mock exams, was it mock or pre-mock? Mock. I really performed so well. I performed better. My KCSE results were a shock. But you just accept and you move on with life. So when I was also going to high school, I didn't know what career I wanted to study. I was at a space where I just want to discover what I love, what I like. And I must thank our class teacher, Mrs. Mwindi, because she was very instrumental in helping me choose the subjects and also choose what I'd like to do after Form 4. I actually came across journalism because of her. She's the person who actually made me realize, you know what, you can be a good journalist. You speak so nicely. You always read nicely in class. And I was like, yeah, I can tell you guys for sure. For me, my best subjects were just Kiswahili, not the grammar parts, the set books, the rest, and history. The rest of the subjects, I was just like, God, you and I know we need to pass these exams. But I must say that there are so many people who really helped me. The study groups that we had, it was just amazing. It was amazing. And of course, if Mary is your classmate, you will not sleep. Trust me, you will read. Yeah. So now that you are a doctor, you graduated, congratulations for that. Do you think you chose the right career, or there are any regrets now that you're torn between medicine and engineering?
Gosh, thank you. Yeah, congratulations as well for the achievements you've gotten. For the career, imagine I believe this is where God wants me to be. But it took a while for me to get here. It wasn't that I don't know. I feel like some people know, they're like, I knew. Mine was like a gradual knowing. And the more I studied, the more I knew. I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. Yeah, I don't regret. I don't regret being here in this space, but it has new challenges. I think, as you guys might have known or maybe don't know, I don't know. There's like a lot of challenges facing the healthcare sector, especially when it comes to workforce, employment, and just also the facilities, um, especially in the county government level. But like all that's accounted for and taken into account, I think I really this is the path I know I was supposed to be on, and I'm grateful every day that I was able to bag that degree and I'm able to serve in this capacity. Yeah.
Amazing. Let me tell you, I knew if there's one thing I knew, even if I didn't know what I wouldn't do, I knew for sure I could never be an engineer. First of all, I used to fail horribly in physics. The physics teacher almost hated me. She thought that I just chose not to pass, but I was really reading, but it was just not working out. Number two, I knew I could do medicine, but somehow, somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can stand blood and injecting someone. It's very cringe for me. I remember, and to digress a bit, I remember there was a time I went to a nursery for young kids. I could not hold myself back. I just cried. I think I'm extremely sensitive. And that early realization, also made me just know that I cannot work in the medical field unless I just do pharmacy. I just deal with medicine. I never have to, inject people or anything. I think being a doctor is among the people with the biggest hearts. So I'm just going to ask you this question and put you on the spotlight. How does it feel as a doctor when you lose your patient, or when you know that this is like near case of, I don't know, how do you guys deal with that? Because I don't know if I could ever. Have you dealt with that already?
All right. As you're speaking about the kid center that you went to, imagine even me, I started tearing up because I kind of felt like I know what you're going to say. I just know what you're going to say. So I was like, oh, I was feeling a bit emo. To answer your question, okay, before I answer your question, one thing you mentioned was self-awareness. Like I think you were able to identify very early on that me, I can't stand blood, me, I can't stand injecting someone. And I feel like that self-awareness is really comes in handy, even in choosing a career. And I feel like I don't think I had that self-awareness when I was in high school. Yeah, I don't think I even exposed myself to the hospital environment before I chose medicine. So trust me, I got a lot of shocks on the way. Yeah, so for the how to handle a patient when they die. So I think first year is the year most people just are like, what the heck is medicine? Because you deal with cadavers, which are dead bodies, and you end up like kind of learning through the dead bodies, and they usually have a very bad smell, awful smell. But somehow that year was so easy for me. Okay, not easy, but like it wasn't hard for me to deal with the dead bodies. I think it's maybe, I don't know, just maybe the thought that they've already gone. Uh, so I thought, I don't know, that was easy. The part that was hard was actually what you're asking, like how do you handle seeing a patient die? And that happened in third year. So the third year at the University of Nairobi, where I studied, is the year where you transition from like the basic sciences, chemistry, etc., to actually now managing patients in the ward. And I started with a particular rotation. It's called medicine. Oh my God. And the first week, we were given like these books. You're given books where you're supposed to fill in for every procedure that you do. Examples like now putting lines. And so you have this book that has like spaces you're supposed to fill, and a nurse or whoever is overseeing you should sign that you've done the procedure. So your week one for me was go around the hospital, try figure out where these procedures are being done and how you can, participate. And let me tell you, that first week, I saw 3 patients die in a span of a week. And out of those 3 patients, 2 were actually kids. Especially one had just been born maybe 2 days before, and then I don't know, I think they got some fever, but the mom didn't know about like fever in a small child because it was a first time mom. So by the time she's bringing the baby, the baby was so, I think he was really far to gone. And let me tell you, I did not know this about myself. This is what I'm saying. Self-awareness is important. I just went into some emotional low. And I didn't know at the time what it was. I can't call it depression, but I just remember feeling so low, so non-motivated. I remember saying, I'm not even going to school the next week. So the second week, I just didn't go to school at all. And my work was to wake up, watch movies morning to evening. And I think that's how I dealt with it then. Quite immature, I have to say, but that's how I dealt with it then. I remember even wanting to quit med school because of that experience, actually. So I was like, surely this cannot be me. I'm seeing dead people dying. Like you think you can help, but there's nothing you can do because that's inevitable in the field of medicine. So I remember trying to change courses, thinking about should I have tried piloting and etc., and just realizing no, my heart is still here. So what ended up happening is we formed a group it was a discussion group, but with that discussion group, I decided to start opening up and talking about the experiences I have, and also I think through that I was even able to start therapy at some point, and all of that enabled me to number one, vent. And I realized once you vent with your fellow colleagues, it becomes easier. Like for some reason they understand you better, and it's like, okay, someone has heard what I'm saying, and then you either pray or you just go out and have a good time, a laugh, maybe go for karaoke. And then therapy really came in handy because now I was able to realize that, first of all, I'm a very emotional person. Like you're saying, you're also sensitive. Even me, I'm very sensitive, by the way, and emotional. Like I think through my heart. I don't even think through my brain at all. So some things just affect my heart way before I even start thinking. But I learned how to cope with that and how to, if it's grieving, to allow myself to grieve. And also there's a lot of things that that a doctor has to go through, or you have to kind of learn. For example, you also have to learn how to not be too engaged or too attached to a patient, which used to happen a lot as well. Such that when anything happens to that patient, it's like you've lost your mom. It's like it's really life and death for you. You're just done, and you can't do that for every single patient and still be effective. So like learning how to still be there and be emotionally present, but also to know your boundaries. It's been a journey. It's still a journey, honestly. I have not gotten the best balance, but I'm still on that journey. But it's hard. I have to admit, Aki, don't assume doctors don't feel it. Everyone feels it. They actually feel it a lot. Different people, different ways. But yeah, maybe that's why the suicide rates for doctors is high. And yeah, I honestly think there's been like new advocacies for mental health for doctors, spaces where we can talk about all these things without hiding. If one needs to cry, they cry, and etc. So there's some advancements, honestly, in trying to support the mental health of doctors or healthcare professionals, really, including nurses and everyone else who works in the ward or in hospitals. Yeah. Gosh, I've talked a lot.
Wow, I think we needed to know that because I've been on the other side. Sometimes I'm a patient, sometimes it's a loved one who's a patient. And sometimes you interact with doctors or nurses and you're just like, don't they have hearts? Don't they have feelings? Can they see that my patient needs critical attention? And it's just good to know and to remember that they're humans too. And I think when you said that it's important for doctors to have a boundary when they're dealing with patients, it explains why from this side, sometimes you feel like your doctor is aloof there, but not there. But now I kind of get why. And I think most people get the reason why. And yeah, I think mental health is really important. And the reason why I say this is because from my own experience, I've seen that the person who's sick is normally taken care of. People will come to see that person, people will pray for that person, people will show
Yeah.
love, spend time, and do all manner of things. But what about the person who's taking care of a sick person? So you can imagine, what about a doctor who's dealing with numerous number of patients? What about a doctor who just also had hope in a patient getting better? And sometimes you get better, and I see it with when people are almost dying, they get better and then they just die. It's sort of like they just wanted to come back home and die. So I think it's very important that you found a space to share, and also that mental health is now being introduced to our doctors because we need them taken care of so that they can even have more strength to take care of us when we are sick or whenever we need consultation. And this message should just get to Ruto and to all the cabinet secretaries, and especially
Amen.
the one for health. You guys, you need to stop joking with our doctors. We
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
know that when you're sick, even just a simple migraine, it's not even simple, any part of your body, as long as if it's not functional, in pain, you cannot do anything. And we just need our doctors treated right so that we can have good healthcare in this country. It's not just for the rich people. I'll say it's for everyone. We all deserve good healthcare. I'm sorry, Mary. I sound a bit angry.
No, no, no. Trust me. Trust me. I would. I'm just me. I'm trying to be decent over here, but honestly, it's quite frustrating and knowing that we have talent, knowing that people have actually worked so hard because it doesn't end in high school, it doesn't end in med school. Like the actual work of being a doctor is hard, and yet we have so many qualified, trained, well, young people with visions like myself, and with the expertise that we need. Yet we see like our from governors. Let's talk about governors, okay? Because we are now under the county system. To even our president or our vice president, none of them seem to be shocked by the fact that we have like 4,000 unemployed doctors in the country. Why we? And then if you look in the county level, like the hospitals, actually maybe there's only one or two doctors to handle all the patients. How is it supposed to work, honestly? And honestly, even for them, if they were doctors, they would honestly see there's a problem. So I totally agree with the anger, the fume, the rage. Um, yes, I hope this gets to them. I totally agree.
Yeah. Let's now go to the good side. I'm just curious because being a doctor looks all serious. What is like the most fun or interesting part of being a doctor that you personally love and you enjoy?
I really love I think I love my colleagues. Honestly, I won't even lie. I have gotten great people in the field of medicine, like any other field, I guess. But yeah, great people. You say I'm humble, but there are people who I kid you not, humility, and they're very brilliant. Now, if you thought high school was a place where you went and you felt, wow, people are brilliant. Now come to med school. Med school, everyone's brilliant. Like everyone is a chopi from whichever high school, and but you'd find like very interesting characters. So I feel like I really enjoy the people. You also get to interact. I feel like also meeting patients and just working in the hospital environment. There are actually some very funny moments in the hospital where only just healthcare workers. I really I have to admit I really enjoy working in the hospital because there's some things that are just outright funny. It's only you and maybe your colleagues that can get that. Yes, but another thing I really like being in the healthcare space is being on social media. I am so pro going on vacations, so pro baby girling, as I mentioned earlier, so pro, eating well, dining well, looking good, snatched, you doing your manicure and pedicure and like all that stuff. I'm really for pro it and for it, and especially now seeing doctors entering the social media space and showing that they also have a life outside the hospital. Like I am 100% for it. So yeah, I feel like people should normalize it. Normalize seeing your serious doctor on social media in a bikini on the beach. Yeah, on a yacht. Yeah.
I don't think I can normalize seeing my doctor. I'd be like, you're having, why are you having fun? Yeah,
That's
but
a
I think,
problem because now we
yeah.
have to keep up an image. We have to act like we don't go on vacations. Surely, who doesn't go on vacations in this day and era? Let the doctor, if it's their time for a break, let them go. That's a way to even distress. That's part of the mental health they need. Let them enjoy life. And then when it's time to work, they work. So I honestly am an advocate of soft life for even the boy child, not just the girl child, especially in the medical field. And I think you shouldn't feel shy showing it off on social media. Though I do know we are still taking baby steps in that era, because I'm sure even like people who hire, if they, I don't know, I feel like it's like a sensitive topic over there, but me, I'm totally pro soft life. Okay. Yes.
All right. Yeah, I guess doctors are human beings after all.
Yes, yeah.
So let me ask you, right? I'm just curious. When you get sick, do you treat yourself? Do you know, like, this is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I need, or do you go and actually get checked if you've ever gotten sick while you started practicing? I'm just curious.
Wait, hey, you treat yourself very fast, very fast. Like I,
Should
but
have been
I
a
think
doctor.
very fast.
I should
But
have been
honestly,
look at me now.
but honestly, okay. How many times have I gone to see a doctor? Actually okay, but I think it's after I've tried the medications that I think would work for me, and they haven't maybe succeeded. That's when I'd go to a specialist. Uh, but yeah, you basically know probably what you're suffering from. So most of the times you're like you can just subscribe or subscribe meds to yourself. It's not allowed. Actually, I don't think it's allowed. But I well, to be honest, yeah. But I've seen doctors actually, and there's a time I was actually quite sick. Um, so at that one I had to, actually see a doctor and they do all the lab tests and etc. Yeah, but the rest, your self subscription, nakwanga small illnesses where you
Wow.
take something, you realize, I'm feeling much better. Yeah.
Wow. It's sad that I can't interview myself, but it's okay. Yeah. So now you mentioned social media and you have conversations with Mary G. Tell me about
Yay.
that. I really enjoy watching the reels that you create. They're very encouraging. They lift your spirit, especially when you watch them after a long day at work. It sort of reminds you just take a break. Tell me about conversations with Mary G.
Yeah, so Conversations with Mary G is basically a segment that I started this year, and it was mostly because of I decided to share the conversations I have with people in my life, in my circle of friends or spheres of influence. Conversations that are uplifting and motivating. Mostly because of also that, I think at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of end of last year, beginning of this year, there's a lot of, this case of where we are not being employed as doctors, and it was getting a bit difficult, even for myself mentally, I have to admit. And I just needed like the positive vibe or the positive message to be shared. And I needed conversations around me to be positive for me to be able to tackle every single day. And so that's where the segment is from. Ideally, it's supposed to just be any conversation whatsoever that is uplifting, that is wholesome, that is supposed to, give you that extra push to just take an extra step for the next day. Yeah, so basically that's where Conversations with Michi began. Yeah, and it's going to continue for a couple, for maybe this year, a proper whole year. Yes. And I'm glad it's inspiring you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy when I saw you do that. And there is an episode or a video that actually caught me where you spoke about self-love And I remember that day, I was feeling, those days where you feel whack. My whole body was in a lot of pain. I was just feeling like, am I gonna get through this? Like, so much was happening. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to interview this girl, and I have not watched all her episodes. I need to go start watching them. And I remember I started from the first one until the one that you had just recently uploaded. And that one for self love, I think I watched it like a few times and it just stood out. Maybe you can talk to us about self love because I think 20 somethings, sometimes life just doesn't go how you planned. You could have studied medicine and then it takes you a long time to secure a job. You could have gone to campus and maybe it's not even the campus you wanted. Maybe you've not been called to the high school you wanted. Probably you're having so much drama at work. Probably you've been diagnosed with a chronic illness. Probably you've been heartbroken. You are almost at the verge of getting engaged to someone. So much could just happen to someone and you just feel worthless. You just feel like I don't matter. You just feel down and you almost get into depression. How do you love yourself in the lowest moments? You can just tell us from your own experience what has worked for you as a young person.
Yeah, so that segment on self-love, that particular reel, yes, it was actually a very vulnerable reel for me. I'm not the most vulnerable person, but yeah, that was me honestly just speaking my heart and just reminding. It was also for me during that period. I was kind of feeling what you're saying, the low. You're feeling like you're completely low and things are not working out the way you thought they would. You've put in the effort, the time, everything that you needed, and it's still not working. And that honestly just takes a hit on, I think, every single person, including doctors. Yeah, just takes a hit on your person, who you are, and the feeling of worthiness, the feeling of deserving of you being and deserving of love. Um, yeah, but self-love is basically just having you remind yourself that you're worthy of love. And a few things that I do honestly when it comes to self-love, I think sometimes, okay, first of all, I feel like that message of self love sometimes has been misconstrued to be like you have to go and spend money. You have to go and either do that pedicure or manicure or to take a trip to the Diani, which I mean, that's a form of self love, but it doesn't always have to be money. And not all the time you have the money to actually do that. It can involve just writing notes, which I do a lot. I have like sticky notes hung up on the side of my bed, on the wall, as well as on the mirror, such that every single day in the morning, as you're looking at yourself, you just do things over there and remind yourself you're that girl. You're the you're the beach. Let me just call it that. You're the bad girl. You got it. Or some people don't subscribe to that. So some people subscribe to you're the loved one. And just writing those notes of reminding yourself that you actually are worth it. Yeah, and I think that message of self love was also specifically to my fellow healthcare professionals, to know that their effort, sometimes, again, as I told you, the effort sometimes goes unrecognized, unnoticed, and even unpaid. But you're worthy of that. You're in the right place doing the right thing. And even if no one is seeing, God actually is seeing and He'll reward it in His own way, in His own time. Yes, so it was just honestly a motivation to every single person that you're worth it, and you don't need people to affirm you, or sometimes accolades or people clapping for you to know that you're worth it. You're worth it, and yeah, just doing small things that would remind you that you're worth it. That's self-love.
Wow, it's amazing. You know what? It's so hard to love yourself when you're not at your best self, emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's usually hard. But I think something I discovered is if you can do that for yourself, then who will? And I think we focus so much on the good times, on loving ourselves when everything is working out. But unconditional self-love is loving yourself through the madness, through it all. And after I watched that particular reel, I sat down with myself and I told myself, I carry myself every day. I have me every day. And I'm going to love myself through it all. Through it all. Let me not be the person who puts myself down or who hates myself when things are tough. Just be kind to yourself and talk to yourself as you would a friend. That really works for me. Sometimes I sit down and I'm like, if my friend was here, if Kim was here, what would I tell her? And that's exactly what I tell myself, that, she'll be okay, you'll get better. Or today was a bad one. Tomorrow we try. Yeah, it's been patient, and my heart goes out to all the doctors. I'm praying for you. Doctors have been a significant part of my journey, and one day I'll talk about them. But I really, really appreciate the value of just having a good doctor in your life. It goes a long way. Yeah. Let's talk about modeling. The modeling doctor. What is your stage name? Do models have a stage name?
Yes, I did have one. It was actually called the modeling doctor, yeah, or Mary G.
The modeling doctor. How did you come across modeling? I'm sure for some people probably who were in high school with, they probably saw you and they were like, what? They were shocked. I think I was not shocked. I was like, yeah, she deserves to be there. She deserves to model. Because as Ella mentioned, your physical features really, really, really. Yeah, you just look like a model.
Oh, thanks. I was shocked by my own self, honestly. I have a family member, a cousin who's older, maybe like 8 years older than I am, and she used to be more like now the supermodel. How she's done a lot more runways than I have, and I think she used to say this. She used to be like, "You look like a model." Whenever I was so young at the time, but I never thought, never in my wildest dreams, that I ever thought that I'd be doing modeling. But I did enjoy it. I'm shocked you weren't shocked, because me, I was shocked by my own self. I came across a poster when I was in second year, and it was a competition, this campus competitions for modeling. So I tried and I actually won, and I enjoyed it. I got the title. Working through it to build something was a bit of a challenge, honestly, because I don't know, it wasn't something I had really envisioned for myself, but it gave me a really deeper look into, or a deeper dive into myself. I learned that I'm a creative. So you remember what I said, like in high school, me, it was me, books and God. Friends came later even. But I feel like now that space of modeling gave me the ability to dive into my creative self, and I realized, yeah, I'm a creative. And everyone is a creative, by the way. For all the guys listening, and you think, I'm more of a scientist, me, I don't know, what do they call it, a bookworm or whatever, you still have a creative side in you. Trust me, you have it up or somewhere. Whether it's writing books or whatever, you have a creative side. So I feel like that's the biggest opportunity that I got to discover myself creatively, and discover, wow, like I do like fashion in a sense. Haven't done much in that, but those are things I know I want to delve deeper in as time moves on. So that was modeling basically for me. And also just an encouragement. Everyone has a creative side, so please don't look down upon yourself. You're a creative, yes, even if you lean more into being a scientist and into the sciences. Yeah
Everyone is a creative at whatever field they're at. There's a creative part of you that you use to solve problems and come up with solutions. So what did modeling teach you? What did you learn apart from shocking yourself?
Well, I learned I could walk on heels, because that was never me. Me, I've been a tomboy all my life. Walking on 6-inch heels, that was new. Understanding my body, that's another thing. I think before I was very shy and, I don't know, reserved. yeah, so modeling, of course, because of the outfits you're gonna wear and the runways you're gonna walk, and people just, shout, even people just pointing out, like, wow, I like this feature about your body, really made me understand myself body wise. Met really good friends. Also met the modeling world is also not very, it's not very, you need to be assertive. Your voice needs to be heard, and you need to also put boundaries, especially if you have values. Like now, I felt like I had to really stand up for my values when I was modeling. That was kitambo kidogo, yeah. So you have to also know your values, know your boundaries, so that you don't fall or don't be trapped into or don't get into sticky situations where you never even thought you were supposed to go. But otherwise, I feel like honestly, if you're tall, if you even if you're short, if you're thin or big, like I think there should be modeling for each and every single size. So I really applaud like the plus size modeling. I think there should be like a runway for even the short people and tall, like just different, such that every single person can embrace who they are. Because that's what modeling did for me. I was able to embrace myself really properly. Yeah. So I think that's another thing I learned from modeling. Would you have tried modeling? I feel like you would.
I think I would. However, I did try modeling when it was called catwalk. It was called catwalking when we were kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in our church, we used to have these conferences. I remember that time Kibaki was the president. There were so many cases of HIV. There was so many drug abuse in the country. And our church decided to create awareness. So they held a conference and there was a whole catwalk. And they actually won. So, guys, I'm not even
Wow.
5 feet. I'm not even 5 feet. So if there's a category for really short people, please tell me. But I think one thing that I know, when you put yourself out there for whatever reason, you always end up amazing yourself and learning so much about you. Because first of all, you'd be like, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't even know I could do that.
Yeah,
I
right.
I have loved seeing models on the runway. I used to binge watch. It used to be called what? Tyra's show. The next top model in America. America's Next Top
Yeah.
Model.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. I used to binge watch it at night every Friday on KTN. I think what I love is the glamour, the glow. I really enjoy wearing different costumes. You just
Mhm.
completely transform the way you normally look. I think I enjoy seeing that, and I enjoy doing that. So just like you, I recently did a photo shoot, and this photo shoot
Nice.
decided I'm going to wear dresses because I also don't wear dresses quite often. I'm quite also on the tomboy side. I love my jeans, but I decided to just get out of my comfort zone and embrace my femininity and embrace my body, the good side, the bad side. And it was fun. It was nice. I still have some of the photos with me, and I'm like, I don't want to share this on social media. They're too close to my heart. Yeah, but I think it's usually wonderful to always take on a new challenge. It teaches you a lot about yourself.
Are these the photos you posted on International Women's Day? Because, girl, you were looking so glam. I was like, wow. Are those the photos?
Yes. Yes, I
Like, I
can.
love them. I love them. I love
Thank
them
you.
100%.
Thank you. When I looked at that photo, I was like, who's this girl? I actually feel like a young woman. I actually feel like, I'm growing. Hey, Miss Phil, we're growing. We're no longer children.
No
Yeah,
children's here.
no children's here. Yeah, so since we're recording this a day after Women's Day, obviously I have to ask you a question. And the first question I will ask is, which woman are you celebrating or has really been, that woman for you in your career, in your life? that you want to give a shout out to. And when this podcast is out, you will send them. You want to appreciate. They can be as many as you want.
Wow. Yeah, a couple of women. Honestly, women are amazing. I think we need to celebrate women every single day because we are amazing. The first woman is definitely Joyce. You already know who Joyce is. My mom. I my mom has been my pillar all along, all through. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have been here, of course, because she gave birth to me. I wouldn't have been here without her. But I mean, even just in the journey of life, she's been so instrumental. Yeah, to my girlfriends, both from like uni, some from high school. You guys know yourselves. Shout out to Alstad Samora, Kathleen. Shout out to Joy. Shout out to Rachel, Victoria from high school. Shout out to Faith Mbaika. Yeah, all these ladies have really been instrumental. I mean, I can list so many ladies. Shout out to you, Miss Phyll, for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And yeah, by the way, let me tell you, Miss Phyll, I don't know if I should call you your real name, but the one we used to call you in high school, because Miss Phyll is it's like a new one, but
it's okay.
So Phyllis, as we used to call you in school. So you talked about me inspiring you. I feel like you really inspired me. And I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but I'll still share it. It was Form 3 and we were having our house drama. So we used to have inter-house competitions. And of course, as Ms. Phyll has told you, she was very active in the creative space and just drama and all that stuff. And I don't know if it was Form 3 or Form 4, but all I do remember is we were competing. I think it was Form 3. And Ms. Phyll here, Phyllis then, was the lead dancer. Okay, the lead dancer. And I do remember you was dancing so vigorously because you really wanted your team to. I think your house wasn't performing so well. I just have to say this is where I say that my house won that year. But I remember your house was like Uko number 10 out of 12. 10.
Yeah.
I think it was Uko chini, and you really wanted to like improve the ranking, and you were dancing so hard. And I think there was something that had happened to your outfit. So
hey, I remember.
We need to talk about. I can never forget that story because I feel like we need to talk about the story because it's almost like the same way we would say period shaming. Anyway, this it was. I feel like okay. So the story is you had this outfit where you had a lasso, I think, that was tied to your boob area at the back. So it was like strapless. And of course, you had a skirt. I think it was a wrapper skirt or something. I'm not so sure. Can't remember. But I do remember that as you were dancing, because you're dancing so vigorously, this lasso around your boob area was kind of going lower and lower. And people were screaming. Like, people started screaming because I was in the audience. And we were screaming, kind of telling you, take care of your, but I don't think you were even hearing, because of course, when you're on stage, you don't hear. That's what I realized when I started modeling. Like, you never even hear you don't even see people because you're so busy on the stage. And then somehow it did slip off, or I think it did slip off a bit. And it did, yeah. And then I think the judges were there, So I think the judges were to judge based on decency and etc. But I don't know who told you it's like falling. So you left the stage and then you went off. And I remember just thinking, I remember feeling sad because I remember just thinking, oh my God, this girl, is she embarrassed? Like, I'd die. Like, it would be like, end of story, I'm not going back. Yeah, but who's Miss Phyll? Who's Phyllis? Phyllis changes, like dresses up, puts the lasso back, ties it, and in less than a minute, she's back on stage, being the lead dancer again. I'm just like, why is this girl getting this vigor and this energy? Me, I wouldn't have come back. I kid you not, I wouldn't. But you came back, and then I remember you continued dancing, and then the same thing almost happened again. And you had to leave the stage again. And then you didn't stay for so long. You came back on stage now with like a better rap, I think. And then now you danced throughout till the end of the presentation. And I do remember, I just remember thinking, my God, I want that, like, vigor. I want that, I don't know, what is it called? The resilience. The fact that you would, I would be very embarrassed myself, I kid you not. And I think even because people were screaming, but you just did not care. You just did not give a damn. And let me tell you, sometimes in life, I honestly, throughout my life, for this period that I've lived. I remember that day. I cannot forget. I remember that day, and I wake up. I'm like, even if you've fallen, even if you've done, even if you've embarrassed yourself, you just wake up, continue like nothing ever happened. They will sort themselves out. And I do remember you actually won an award. You remember? I don't know if you remember. Me, I remember. You won an award for that resilience, that tenacity of still rising up even after, it wasn't a misgiving on your end. And I don't think there's anything you could have done at the time. But yeah, I feel like that resilience, that tenacity, let me tell you, if people need to know this about Phyllis. Phyllis is tenacious. Like, she is. You can't put this guy down. I'm sorry. Try another one. Go another place, please. No, not Phyllis. Okay, because she's gonna come up. She's gonna rise again. And honestly, you talk about me inspiring you. I honestly hold on to that memory. I remember even coming to talk to you after that, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, how's your mental? Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling okay?" And you were like, "Yeah. Me, I'm good." I'm like, "Yeah." This is what I want. I want this for myself. Okay, this is like a quality I really want. So people who don't know Phyllis, Miss Phyll here, please don't try and put her down. You just make her stronger. Okay, just go somewhere else. Just for the haters out there, if there's any hater, I don't think there should be. If there's a hater though, hey, they don't know, they're firing you up. They're just adding fuel. Yeah, so you really inspire me, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I honestly don't usually remember that moment. Thank you for reminding me. I don't know what was going through my head, but I just knew that I have to finish. I am committed to my house and I have to finish. I just remember that was the only thing. And I remember my desk mate is the one who really stood up on top of a chair, Brenda. And she was like, she's the one who made me realize, okay, my boobs are out. My costume is down. I think she shouted and she stood on top of a chair and pointed. And I was like, okay, what is happening? And I think in a moment, I just said, let me leave and come back. I think in my head, there was no... I think quitting was not an option in my head. And thank you for reminding me for that moment. Oh my God, it was in front of all the girls in school. I was famous for that, by the way. All of a sudden, I became famous because of that incident.
I mean, the judges give you an award. So, I mean, even if, but I think they give you an award. That's the thing. That's a quality we need, and it's a quality you have, and it's a quality I admire, and I really try to remind myself at time to just be like, even if things are wrong, there's no quitting. Yeah, that was the point. Yeah, you did not quit. I really love that about you.
Wow, thank you so much. Unfortunately, our time is up. We have to end the episode. And I just want to give a shout out to all the women in the world, amazing women in whatever career, school, anything. Thank you for your existence and thank you for fighting and surviving this far. And lastly, I want to say thank you to you, Mary, for coming to the podcast and sharing with us. I hope she'll be back another time so that we can discuss other topics now that you've learned about her life a bit and what she's all about. Please make sure you go and check out Conversations with Mary G on Instagram. I'll be linking her Instagram on our description. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.